use.
Yeah.
You're bossing around and sucking up the trash.
Yeah.
Well, it's AI, and we already have Siri and Alexa.
This is true.
Yep.
Hey, Justin.
What's up, Justin? How you doing, man? Welcome to the show.
Justin. Hey, Justin.
You should send him the link. This ought to scare the shit out of him.
Oh, you know what? That's a good idea.
You know, two things right off the bat. A lot of these guys are saying that unless it's because of some kind of cultural or religious problem with it, there's no reason to be deaf anymore. And I think that's amazing.
I got the religious into that. Just a little bit.
Oh, yeah. You know what? I'd definitely love to hear about the religious aspect.
Yeah.
Because I know Christian transhumanism exists.
They don't like it.
It is a thing.
They don't like it.
Well, there are Christian transhumanists. They really do.
They seem like they would be shunned by the rest of them.
Yeah, they probably are. Or preached at quite a bit, I would imagine.
4, 3.
Thou shalt have robo legs that look badass and make you jump 20 feet. Jesus said it. I saw it in the Bible. It's in the back.
Okay.
It's under current events.
Small print.
Mm-hmm. It's easy to find. You just have to take like the 13th letter of every sentence that's said in.
In the Bible code and uncoding, whatever.
I made up my own code.
Gematria, yeah.
My own code just goes, okay, move 7 letters until the next one I need, then move 3 letters to the next one I need.
There you
It's
go.
just completely arbitrary.
There you go, Jesse.
And a lot less crazy than some of the shit we cover.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah. Yeah. I agree.
It's a church of robotology. Got it. Futurama should have stayed good.
Bloop. Hello, sir. How do you do? Uh-oh. I don't know if he can hear us. There he goes. Mute,
Can you
mute,
hear us?
mute, unmute.
Can you hear us, Justin?
Ground controls and agents home. Slurping my Coca-Cola over here right in the microphone. How do you like that?
I like it.
Ral G, you can just say Alexa vacuum the floor and the fracking robo vacuum starts working. I did not know that. I don't see the need for me to have like an Alexa or a Dot or whatever these things are these days.
Hear me now. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah, we hear
Thank
you.
you now.
Awesome. Awesome.
Welcome to the show, sir.
What is this? What is this whole thing about transhumanism?
It's basically the idea that you could either become
Forever.
Have a very extended life, or become immortal, or that they could even reverse the aging process so that you could stay 25 until the day you die. It's the idea of if something's broken, why not fix it?
Right, it's incorporating technology into our own bodies.
Yeah,
Some of
there's
these people seem
I'm fine with.
crazy at
Well,
first.
I don't want to stay my 25-year-old self forever. I would like to. I would like to be able to rid of the toxins from my body.
Well,
But
that's actually how it works.
yeah, I would like to be able to live to be 25 for 25 years. That'd be great.
What
I
we're
think
talking
everyone
here,
would want
Justin,
that.
is what is in like a movie where if I came to you and I said I could make you 25 years old in peak physical condition, you'll never have any ailments, and you'll basically be like a Superman version of yourself.
A Superman version of myself. That depends what you mean. Am I going to be a quadriplegic?
Kind of like.
Not that Superman,
Holy
Justin.
shit!
He went there.
Oh,
He
brutal.
went there.
That was
It was
no.
brutal.
That come on, you set me up for that. I know you did.
Very nice.
Like everyone was thinking it. Everyone was thinking it.
I wasn't.
Oh yes, you were. Yes, you
No.
were. Yes,
No.
you were. Don't lie to me, cat. No, come on, Tina.
That's funny.
No, no. But when they refer to the Superman incident, yeah, like, yeah, that's why I stay away from horses, and that's why I don't like the never-ending story. No, thank you. Yeah, I'm glad that horse is dead.
Aw.
Anyway,
Yeah.
don't awe me. Don't awe me. No, no, no. That horse crushed Noah Hathaway.
Dude, that was a real
That
shit out of luck
12-year-old.
moment
That
in movie.
12-year-old. He had to pay $1 million in spine surgeries and shit like that. And on top of that, that stupid sneezing turtle, like had him land on his back from the tree.
That wasn't the horse's fault. That was the fucking trainers.
Yeah, I know. But still,
Hey, Pete.
Horses
Who-
are
I
dangerous.
bet our text was the reason why we. Never mind.
Who was the famous person in history that her horse crushed her because she was trying to sleep with it?
Catherine the Great, probably.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
She used to fuck horses.
Yeah.
Oh, did you
She,
see
On,
the,
and on that note,
yeah, she,
Sometimes
did,
you just need a deeper
devised-
satisfaction.
she devised like a lift-like system, you know, and it snapped and the horse fell on her and crushed her. Oh,
Squire, help me with the On Donkey show.
yeah, right?
well, at any rate, I do have to. I just wanted to stop by for a quick second. I was just teasing you guys, but I gotta be somewhere. But I do want to say that I don't want to live forever. I eventually do want to pass on at some point.
Me too.
And I mean, if it, I would like this whole idea of living forever. Sounds great until more and more and more humans are on this earth, and
Yeah.
it becomes too much. And so,
Like now.
Now it's,
yeah.
Now let me
It's
ask
like
you a
what's like
question.
action.
and well, hold on, and
If
at
we
that
live
point,
forever,
and at that point, whoever wants to go to Mars can go to
Yeah.
fucking Mars and
Right.
not breathe. That would be
if we live
great.
forever, we could go to space anywhere. We could go to Alpha Centauri. We could colonize space
Yeah,
with incredibly low light.
Imagine. Okay, you know those little 80-year-old Jewish couples that are arguing
Yeah.
Like
because
Miracle
they're
Max.
just sick of each other, or like 90
uh,
Go to space.
Like
They're
what's
sick of each other.
Everybody loves
Yeah.
Raymond.
Yeah.
Imagine how sick of each other you would be if you lived forever and you were with the same fucking people for all of your
I
life.
don't think, yeah, I think they would get rid of marriage if that was the case. I think they would get rid of marriage. Why?
No, they never get rid of marriage.
Point,
Yeah.
but no, I disagree because it's not the people who would say like, oh, I want to get rid of marriage are the people who haven't met the person that they want to be with for the rest of their lives for a reason. Because yeah, you would want to bang somebody else, but at the end of the day, that's just banging. That's not making love. Making love is being with somebody. No, shut the fuck up, Jesse. I'm being serious. No,
Making love.
no. Oh, come on. Oh, come on. I'm being serious here. No, there's a difference between just fucking and making love. Making love is not just with the body, but with the
Of
heart, the
course, we
mind,
all
the
know
soul.
that.
It
I
is
haven't had any
everything. It is
Called pillow talk, baby.
everything.
That's
And
just
it's just
pillow
so
talk.
much better. It's so much better to just be with somebody that you actually give a
Baby.
fuck about instead of somebody that you would just be able to toss aside, just as a hookup. That's a totally different thing. Somebody that you would just hook up with is just a temporary solution to just satisfy your needs. You'd be better off jerking off, in all honesty. Like, you would probably be able to do yourself better, actually, because you know yourself, but the
But
person
it's not
that you're
tight
with,
and wet.
but the person that you're with, is somebody that knows you well enough that just gets you, I guess. And that's what I'm trying to get at.
I understand. And to
Maybe
that,
I'm just
Justin,
way
I
too
say,
serious for this.
You're my first. You're my last. You're my everything. You're the answer to all of my dreams.
Are you
Well,
saying
that
that?
sounds silly, but
You're all that I've been waiting for.
that's not what I'm talking about.
You're
That's
mine
not-
forevermore. My first, my last, my everything.
Now it's obvious.
Dun, 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 dun.
Is my point getting across to anybody?
Yeah, totally.
That's all right, man. You know what?
Everyone
You
agrees
could
with
be
you.
a sensitive guy. You know what I'm saying?
It's not about me being sensitive or anything. I'm just like, I really just I'm getting tired of the bitches.
Yeah, it's your understanding life.
Uh,
I've
Tired.
never heard anybody say that before.
Ever.
No, it's
All these bitches. Oh, I can't keep them off of me. All these bitches on my jock.
it gets boring. It gets boring. You want something more than that.
It's a hard
Boring
cock
tapping on
life
his ass all
for
day.
us.
It does though. Like you could just change. It's just like changing. Just I don't know.
Are you out of wild oats to sow, sir?
I think he's out of, out of conversations to be had with dumb people.
Is that what it is? You're tired
I
of dumb
think that's what it is.
I'm tired of dumb people.
Well, that's not necessarily what I'm saying. I'm saying I'm tired of just if
You
we're
want
talking about-
fulfillment. You want something more.
You're looking for something more.
Well, yeah, of
I understand
course.
that, man. I'm a happily married man, you know. So I mean, I know where you're coming from. I know what you want.
It's like alcohol. You could
Looking
just
for that
keep drinking
soul
Bucoff
connection.
because it works, or you could just go get something good.
Yeah.
You can treat yourself nicely, and if you're able to get to a place where you can treat yourself nice for the rest of your life, that's the main goal.
Tell Rob that.
Damn.
And on that
Cold-blooded.
note, I am going to get out of here.
Good.
Thank you for having me
stopping by.
on.
It's always a pleasure to have you.
Good
And
to hear
before you
from
go, though, what's
Justin.
one robot part that you would have installed?
What's one robot part that I would have installed? An appendix, because I don't have one.
Really?
You don't need that,
You don't
dumbass.
need one.
Yeah, I know.
You
Well,
could have had Wolverine claws.
oh.
Have anything
I
you
thought you were
want,
talking
have
about a
wings.
regular human part.
No, it's transhumanism.
Anything you want.
Oh, anything I
Anything that
want.
can wire
to your
I
brain.
will
Purple
take.
eyes, anything.
All right, fine. A liver.
A liver? You don't have a liver either?
They
No,
could
I have a
throw you in
liver.
the
I have a liver, but you know.
Is it beat up?
He's gonna wear that one out.
I mean, I went to college, so.
Yeah, it's beat up.
All right. Good night, everyone.
Good night,
Good night,
Justin. Take it easy, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, canceled.
Good to hear from everybody.
So there we go.
Angry viewers are like, thumbs down. We were talking about the singularity and you went off topic for 3 seconds.
Oh my God, we could do this as long as we want.
Calm
Well,
down,
on
he's
YouTube.
gone.
My spleen, says Patio 57. My spleen. So I got an article I did want to share with everybody here. You know, I like to share articles, so I'm going to start with something that gives us just a little bit of information on this topic. This is an article called 2045, The Year Man Becomes Immortal by Lev Grossman. It's from Times website, February 10th, 2011. On February 15, 1965, a different but self-possessed high school student named Raymond Kurzweil appeared as a guest on a game show called I've Got a Secret. He was introduced by host Steve Allen. Then he played a short musical composition on a piano. The idea was that Kurzweil was hiding an unusual fact, and the panelists, they included a comedian and a former Miss America, had to guess what it was. On the show, the beauty queen did a good job of grilling Kurzweil. The comedian got the win. The music was composed by a computer. Kurzweil got $200. Kurzweil then demonstrated the computer, which he built by himself, a desk-sized affair with loud clacking relays hooked up to a typewriter. The panelists were pretty blasé about it. They were more impressed by Kurzweil's age than by anything he'd actually done. They're ready to move on to Mrs. Chester Loney of Rough and Ready, California, whose secret was that she'd been President Lyndon Johnson's first-grade teacher. But Kurzweil would spend much of the rest of his career working out what his demonstration meant. Creating a work of art is one of those activities we reserve for humans and humans only. But an act of self-expression, you're not supposed to be able to do it if you don't have a self. To see creativity, the exclusive domain of humans, usurped by a computer, built by a 17-year-old, is to watch a line blur that cannot be unblurred, the line between organic intelligence and artificial intelligence. That was Kurzweil's real secret, and back in 1965, nobody guessed it. Maybe not even him, not yet. But now, 46 years later, Kurzweil believes that we're approaching a moment when computers will become intelligent, and not just as intelligent, but more intelligent than humans. When that happens, humanity, our bodies, our minds, our civilization will be completely and irreversibly transformed. He believes that this moment is not only inevitable, but imminent. According to his calculations, the end of human civilization as we know it is about 35 years away. Computers are getting faster, Everybody knows that. Also, computers are getting faster. That is, the rate at which they're getting faster is increasing. True? True. So if computers are getting much faster, so incredibly fast, they might conceivably come a moment when they're capable of something comparable to human intelligence, artificial intelligence. All that horsepower could be put in the service of emulating whatever it is our brains are doing when they create consciousness. Not just doing arithmetic very quickly or composing piano music, but also driving cars, writing books, making ethical decisions, appreciating fancy paintings, making witty observations at cocktail parties. If you can swallow that idea, and Kurzweil and a lot of other very smart people can, then all bets are off. From that point on, there's no reason to think computers would stop getting more powerful. They would keep on developing until they were far more intelligent than we are. Their rate of development will also continue to increase because they would take over their own development from their slower thinking human creators. Imagine a computer scientist that was a super intelligent computer. It could work incredibly quickly. It could draw in huge amounts of data effortlessly. It wouldn't even take breaks to play Farmville, probably. It's impossible to predict the behavior of these smarter than human intelligences with whom we might one day share the planet. Because if you could, you'd be as smart as they would be. But there's a lot of theories about it. Maybe we'll merge with them and become super intelligent cyborgs, using computers to extend our intellectual abilities the same way that cars and planes extend our physical abilities. Maybe the artificial intelligences will help us treat the effects of old age and prolong our lifespans indefinitely. Maybe we'll scan our consciousness into computers and live inside them as software forever, virtually. Maybe the computers will turn on humanity and annihilate us. The one thing all these theories have in common is the transformation of our species into something that is no longer recognizable as such to humanity circa right now. This transformation has a name, the singularity. It's difficult to keep things keep sight of when you're talking about the singularity. No, I'm sorry. It's a difficult thing to keep sight of when you're talking about the singularity is that even though it sounds like science fiction, it isn't. No more than a weather forecast is science fiction. It's not a fringe idea. It's a serious hypothesis about the future of life on Earth. There's an intellectual gag reflex that kicks in anytime you try to swallow an idea that involves super intelligent immortal cyborgs, but suppress it if you can. Because while the singularity appears to be, on the face of it, preposterous, it's an idea that rewards sober, careful evaluation. People are spending a lot of money to understand it. The 3-year-old Singularity University, which offers interdisciplinary courses of study for graduate students and executives, is hosted by NASA. Google was a founding sponsor. Its CEO and co-founder, Larry Page, spoke there last year. People are attracted to the singularity for shock value, like an intellectual freak show, but they stay because there's more to it than they expected. And of course, in the event that it turns out to be real, it would be the most important thing to happen in humanity since the invention of a language. The singularity isn't a wholly new idea, just newish. In 1965, the British mathematician I.J. Good described something he called an intelligence explosion. Let an ultra-intelligent machine be defined as a machine that can far surpass all the intellectual activities of any man, however clever. Since the design of machines is one of these intellectual activities, an ultra-intelligent machine could design even better machines. There would then be unquestionably an intelligence explosion, and the intelligence of man would be left far behind. Thus, the first ultra-intelligent machine is the last invention that man need ever make. The word singularity is borrowed from astrophysics. It refers to a point in space-time, for example, inside a black hole, at which the rules of ordinary physics do not apply. In the 1980s, a science fiction novelist, Werner Vinge, attached it to Good's intelligence explosion scenario. At a NASA symposium in 1993, Vinge announced that within 30 years, we will have the technological means to create superhuman intelligence. Shortly after, the human era will be ended. By that time, Kurzweil was thinking about the singularity too. He'd been busy since his appearance on I've Got a Secret. He made several fortunes as an engineer and inventor. He founded and then sold his first software company when he was still at MIT. He went on to build the first print-to-speech reading machine for the blind. Stevie Wonder was customer number one. He made innovations in a range of technical fields, including music synthesizers and speech recognition. He holds 39 patents and 19 honorary doctorates. In 1999, President Bill Clinton awarded him with the National Medal of Technology. But Kurzweil is also pursuing a parallel career as a futurist. He's been publishing his thoughts about the future of humanity and machinekind for 20 years. The most recent in The Singularity is Near, which was a bestseller when it came out in 2005. A documentary by the same name, starring Kurzweil, Tony Robbins, and Alan Dershowitz, among others, was released in January. Kurzweil is actually the subject of 2 current documentaries. The other one, less authorized but more informative, is called The Transcendent Man. Bill Gates has called him the best person I know at predicting the future of artificial intelligence. In real life, the Transcendent Man is an unimposing figure who could pass for Woody Allen's even nerdier younger brother. Kurzweil grew up in Queens, New York, and you can still hear a trace of it in his voice. Now 62, he speaks with the soft, almost hypnotic calm of someone who gives 60 public lectures a year. The Singularity's most visible champion, he has heard all the questions, faced beyond the incredulity, and that incredulity many, many times before. And he's good-natured about it. He's in a manner almost apologetic. I wish I could bring you less exciting news of the future, but I've looked at the numbers, and this is what they say. So what else can I tell you? Kurzweil's interest in humanity's cyber-organic destiny began about 1980, largely as a practical matter. He needed ways to measure and track the pace of technological progress. Even great inventions can fail if they arrive before their time, and he wanted to make sure that when he released his, the timing was right. Even at that time, technology was moving quickly enough that the world was going to be different by the time you finished a project, he says. So it's like skeet shooting. You can't shoot at the target. He knew about Moore's law, of course, which states that the number of transistors you can put on a microchip doubles about every 2 years. It is a surprisingly reliable rule of thumb. Kurzweil tried plotting a slightly different curve. The change over time in the amount of computing power, measured in MIPS, millions of instructions per second, that you can buy for $1,000. As it turns out, Kurzweil's numbers looked a lot more like Moore's. They doubled every couple of years. Drawn as a graph, they both made exponential curves with their value increasing by multiples of 2 instead of by regular increments in a straight line. The curves had held eerily steady, even when Kurzweil extended his backward through the decades of pre-transistor computing technologies like relays and vacuum tubes all the way back to 1900. Kurzweil then ran the numbers on a whole bunch of other key technological indexes. The falling cost of manufacturing transistors, the rising clock speed of microprocessors, the plummeting price of dynamic RAM. He even looked further afield at trends in biotech and beyond. The falling cost of sequences DNA and of wireless data service and the rising number of internet hosts and nanotechnology patents. He kept finding the same thing, exponentially accelerating progress. It's really amazing how smooth these trajectories are, he says. Through thick and thin, war and peace, boom times and recessions, Kurzweil calls it the law of accelerating returns. Technological progress happens exponentially, not linearly. Then he extended the curves into the future, and the growth they predicted was so phenomenal. It created cognitive dissonance and cognitive resistance in his mind. Exponential curves start slowly, then rocket skyward towards infinity. According to Kurzweil, we're not evolved to think in terms of exponential growth. It's not intuitive. Our built-in predictors are linear. When we're trying to avoid an animal, we pick the linear prediction of where it's going to be in 20 seconds and what to do about it. That is actually hardwired into our brains. Here's what the exponential curves told him. We will successfully reverse engineer the human brain by the mid-2020s. By the end of that decade, computers will be capable of human-level intelligence. Kurzweil puts a date on the singularity. Never say he's not conservative. At 2045. In that year, he estimates, given the vast increases in computing power and the vast reductions in the cost of the same, the quantity of artificial intelligence created will be about 1 billion times the sum of all the human intelligence that exists today. The singularity isn't just an idea. It attracts people, and those people feel a bond with one another. Together they form a movement, a subculture. Kurzweil calls it a community. Once you decide to take the singularity seriously, you will find you have become a part of a small but intense and globally distributed hive of like-minded thinkers known as singularitarians. Not all of them are Kurzweilians, not by a long chalk. There's room inside singularitarianism for considerable diversity of opinion about what the singularity means and when and how it will or won't happen. But the singularitarians share a worldview. They think in terms of deep time. They believe in the power of technology to shape history, and they have little interest in the conventional wisdom about anything. And they cannot believe you're walking around living your life and watching TV as if the artificial intelligence revolution were not about to erupt and change absolutely everything. They have no fear of sounding ridiculous. Your ordinary citizen's distaste for apparently absurd ideas is just an example of irrational bias. The singularitarians have no truck with irrationality. When you enter their mind space, you pass through an extreme gradient in worldview, a hard ontological shear that separates singularitarians from the common run of humanity. Expect turbulence. In addition to the Singularity University, which Kurzweil co-founded, There's also a Singularity Institute for Artificial Intelligence, the SIAI, based in San Francisco. It counts among its advisors Peter Thiel, a former CEO of PayPal and an early investor in Facebook. This institute holds an annual conference called the Singularity Summit. Kurzweil co-founded that too. Because of the highly interdisciplinary nature of singularity theory, it attracts a diverse crowd. Artificial intelligence is the main event, but the sessions also cover the galloping progress of, among other fields, genetics and nanotechnology. At the 2010 summit, which took place in August in San Francisco, there were not just computer scientists, but also psychologists, neuroscientists, nanotechnologists, molecular biologists, and specialists in wearable computers, a professor of emergency medicine, and an expert on cognition in gray parrots, and a professional magician and debunker, James the Amazing Randi. The atmosphere was a curious blend of Davos and a UFO convention. Proponents of seasteading, the practice, so far theoretical, of establishing politically autonomous floating communities in international waters, handed out pamphlets. An android chatted with visitors in one corner. After artificial intelligence, the most talked about topic of the 2010 summit was life extension. Biological boundaries that most people think of as permanent and inevitable, singularitarians see as merely intractable but solvable problems. Death is one of them. Old age is an illness like any other, and what you do with an illness, you cure them. Like a lot of singularitarian ideas, that sounds funny at first, but the closer you get to it, the less funny it seems. It's not just wishful thinking. There's actual science going on. For example,
the real overlying thing here is that they really treat the human body not as a finite meat bag, but they treat it like a classic car. When something's wrong with it, like these cars, they've been around way longer than their life expectancy was supposed to be. But if you do the right things and you replace the right things, and you give it that TLC, they're still around.
That's a good.
That's the layman's version. Sorry, Pete.
Oh, no problem. Biological boundaries that most people think of as permanent and inevitable, singularitarians see as merely irretractable. Oh no, I read that part. For example, it's well known that one cause of physical degeneration associated with aging involves telomeres, which are segments of DNA found at the end of chromosomes. Every time a cell divides, the telomeres get shorter. And once the cell runs out of telomeres, it can't reproduce anymore and dies. But there's an enzyme called telomerase that reverses the process. It's one of the reasons cancer cells live so long. So why not treat regular non-cancerous cells with telomerase? In November, researchers at Harvard Medical School announced in Nature they had done just that. They administered telomeres to a group of mice suffering from age-related degeneration. The damage went away. The mice didn't just get better. They got younger. Aubrey de Grey.
I saw that. There's pictures of that.
Mm-hmm. Oh.
Yeah. Aubrey de Grey is one of the world's best-known life extension researchers and a Singularity Summit veteran. A British biologist with a doctorate from Cambridge and a famously formidable beard. De Grey runs a foundation called SENS, or Strategies for Engineering Negligible Sin Science. He views aging as a process of accumulating damage, which he has divided into 7 categories, each of which he hopes to one day address using regenerative medicine. It's just childish. The human body is a machine that has a bunch of functions. It accumulates various types of damage as a side effect of the normal functions of a machine. Therefore, in principle, that damage can be repaired periodically. This is why we have vintage cars. It's really just a matter of paying attention. The whole of medicine consists of messing around with what looks like pretty inevitable, until you figure out how to make it happen. Kurzweil takes life extension seriously too. His father, whom he was very close, died of heart disease at 58. Kurzweil inherited his father's genetic predisposition. He also developed type 2 diabetes when he was 35. Working with Terry Grossman, a doctor who specializes in longevity medicine, Kurzweil has published 2 books on his own approach to life extension, which involves taking up to 200 pills and supplements a day. He says his diabetes is essentially cured. Although he's 62 years old, from a chronological perspective, he estimates his biological age is about 20 years younger. But his goals differ slightly from de Grey's. For Kurzweil, it's not so much about staying healthy as long as possible. It's about staying alive until the singularity. It's an attempted handoff. Once hyperintelligence, artificial intelligences arise, armed with advanced nanotechnology, they'll really be able to wrestle with the vast, complex, systematic problems associated with aging humans. Alternatively, by then we'll be able to transfer our minds to sturdier vessels, such as computers and robots. He and many other singularitarians take seriously the proposition that many people who are alive today will wind up being functionally immortal. It's an idea that's radical and ancient at the same time. It's sailing to Byzantium. W.B. Yeats described mankind's fleshy predicament as a soul fastened to a dying animal. Why not unfasten it and fasten it to an immortal robot instead? Kurzweil finds that life extension procedures produces even more resistance in his audience than his exponential growth curves. There are people who can accept computers being more intelligent than people, he says, but the idea of significant changes to human longevity, that seems to be particularly controversial. People invested a lot of personal effort into certain philosophies dealing with the issue of life and death. I mean, that's the major reason we have religion. Of course, a lot of people think the singularity is nonsense, a fantasy, wishful thinking, a Silicon Valley version of the evangelical story of the rapture, spun by a man who earns his living making outrageous claims and backing them up with pseudoscience. Most of the serious critics focus on the question of whether a computer can truly become intelligent. The entire field of artificial intelligence is devoted to this question. But AI doesn't produce the kind of intelligence we associate with humans currently, or even with talking computers in the movies, HAL or C-3PO or Data. Actual AIs tend to be able to master only one highly specific domain, like interpreting search queries or playing chess. They operate within an extremely specific frame of reference. They don't make conversation at parties. They're intelligent, but only if you define intelligence in a vanishingly narrow way. The kind of intelligence Kurzweil is talking about, which is called strong AI, or artificial general intelligence, doesn't exist yet. Why not? Obviously, we're still waiting on that exponential growth in computer power to get here. But also, it's impossible. There are things going on in our brains that can't be duplicated electronically, no matter how many MIPS you throw in. The neurochemical architecture that generates the ethereal chaos we know as human consciousness may just be too complex an analog to replace in digital silicon. The biologist Dennis Bray was one of the few voices of dissent at last summer's Singularity Summit. Although biological components act in a way that are comparable to those in electronic circuits, he argued in a title talk, What Cells Can Do That Robots Can't, they are set apart by the huge number of different states they can adopt. Multiple biochemical processes create chemical modifications of protein molecules, further diversified by association with distinct structures at defined locations of a cell. The resulting combinatorial explosion of states endows living systems with an almost infinite capacity to store information regarding past and present conditions and a unique capacity to prepare for future events. That makes the ones and zeros that a computer traded look pretty crude. Underlying the practical challenges there are a host of philosophical ones. Suppose we did create a computer that talked and acted in a way that was indistinguishable from a human being. In other words, a computer that could pass the Turing test. Very loosely speaking, such a computer would be able to pass as a human in a blind test. What would that mean? Would that mean that the computer was sentient, the way a human being is? Or would it just be an extremely sophisticated but essentially mechanical automaton without the mysterious spark of consciousness, a machine with no ghost in it? And how would we know? Even if you grant the singularity is plausible, you're still staring at a thicket of unanswerable questions. If I scan my consciousness into a computer, am I still me? What are the geopolitics and the socioeconomics of the singularity? Who decides who gets to be immortal? Who draws the line between sentient and non-sentient? And as we approach immortality, omniscience, and omnipotence, will our lives still have meaning? By beating death, will we have lost our essential humanity? Kurzweil admits there is a fundamental risk associated with the singularity that's impossible to refine away, simply because we don't know what highly advanced artificial intelligence, finding itself in a newly created inhabitant of the planet Earth, would choose to do. It might not feel like competing with us for resources. One of the goals of the Singularity Institute is to make sure not just that artificial intelligence develops, but also that AI is friendly. You don't have to be a super intelligent cyborg to understand that introducing a superior life form into your own biosphere is a basic Darwinian error. The singularity is coming. These questions are going to get answers whether we like it or not. And Kurzweil thinks that trying to put off the singularity by banning technology is not only impossible, but also unethical and probably dangerous. It would require a totalitarian system to implement such a ban, he says. It wouldn't work. It would just drive these technologies underground, where the responsible scientists who are counting on to create defenses would not have easily access to the tools. Kurzweil is almost inhumanly patient, an inhumanly patient and thorough debater. He relishes it. He's tireless in hunting down his critics so that he can respond to them point by point, carefully and in detail. Take the question of whether computers can replicate the biomechanical complexity of the organic brain. Kurzweil yields no ground there whatsoever. He does not see any fundamental difference between flesh and silicon that will prevent the latter from thinking. He defies biologists to come up with a neurological mechanism that could not be modeled, or at least matched in power and flexibility by software running on a computer. He refuses to fall on his knees before the mystery of the human brain. Generally speaking, he says, the core of disagreement I'll have with critics is, they'll say, oh, Kurzweil is underestimating the complexity of reverse engineering the human brain or the complexity of biology. But I don't believe I'm underestimating the challenge. I think they're underestimating the power of exponential growth. The position doesn't make Kurzweil an outlier, at least among singularitarians. Plenty of people make more extreme predictions. Since 2005, the neuroscientist Henry Markram has been running an ambitious initiative at the Brain Mind Institute of the École Polytechnique in Lausanne, Switzerland. It's called the Blue Brain Project, and it's an attempt to create a neuron-by-neuron simulation of a mammalian brain using IBM's Blue Gene supercomputer. So far, Markram's team has managed to simulate one neocortical column from a rat's brain, which contains about 10,000 neurons. Markram said he hopes to have a completely virtual human brain up and running in 10 years. Even Kurzweil sniffs at this. If it worked, he points out, then you'd have to educate the brain, and who knows how long that would take. By definition, the future beyond the singularity is not knowable by our linear, chemical, animal brains. But Kurzweil is teeming with theories about it. He positively flogs himself to think bigger and bigger. You can see him kicking against the confines of his aging organic hardware. When people look at the implications of ongoing exponential growth, it gets harder and harder to accept, he says. So you get people who really accept, yes, things are progressively exponential, but they fall off a horse at some point because the implications are too fantastic. I've tried to push myself to really look. In Kurzweil's future, biotechnology and nanotechnology give us the power to manipulate our bodies and the world around us at will at the molecular level. Progress hyper-accelerates, and every hour brings a century's worth of scientific breakthroughs. We ditch Darwin and take charge of our own evolution. The human genome becomes just so much code to be bug-tested and optimized, and if necessary, rewritten. Indefinite life extension becomes a reality. People die only if they choose to, and death loses its sting once and for all. Kurzweil hopes to bring his dead father back to life. We scan our consciousness into computers and enter a virtual existence, or swap our bodies for immortal robots and light out for the edges of space as intergalactic godlings. Within a matter of centuries, human intelligence will have re-engineered and saturated all the matter in the universe. This is, Kurzweil believes, our destiny as a species. Or it isn't. When the big questions get answered, a lot of the action will happen where no one can see it, deep inside the black silicone brains of the computers, which will either bloom bit by bit into conscious minds or just continue in an ever more brilliant and powerful iterations of nonsentience. But as for the minor questions, they're already being decided all around us and in plain sight. The more you read about the singularity, the more you start to see it peeking out at you, coyly, from unexpected directions. 5 years ago, we didn't have 600 million humans carrying their social lives over a single electronic network. Now we have Facebook. 5 years ago, you didn't see people double-checking what they were saying and where they were going, even as they were saying it and going there, using handheld network-enabled digital prosthesis. Now we have iPhones. It's an unimaginable step to take the iPhones out of hands and put them in. Is it an unimaginable step to take the iPhones out of our hands and put them in our skulls? Already, 30,000 patients with Parkinson's disease have neural implants. Google is experimenting with computers that can drive cars. There are more than 2,000 robots fighting in Afghanistan alongside the human troops. This month, a game show will once again figure in the history of artificial intelligence, but this time the computer will be the guest. An IBM supercomputer nicknamed Watson will compete on Jeopardy. Watson runs on 90 servers and takes up an entire room, and in practice match in January, he finished ahead of two former champions, Ken Jennings and Brad. He got every question answered right. And much more important, it didn't need help understanding the questions or strictly speaking the answers, which were phrased in English. Watson isn't strong AI, but if strong AI happens, it will arrive gradually, bit by bit, and this will have been one of the bits. 100 years from now, Kurzweil and DeGray and others could be the 22nd century's answer to the Founding Fathers, except unlike the Founding Fathers, they'll still be alive to get credit, or their ideas could look as hilariously retro as dated as Disney Tomorrowland. Nothing gets old as fast as the future. But even if they're dead wrong about the future, they're right about the present. They're taking the long view and looking at the big picture. You may reject every specific article of the Singularitarian Charter, but you should admire Kurzweil for taking the future seriously. Singularitarianism is grounded in the idea that change is real and that humanity is in charge of its own fate, and that history might not be as simple as one damn thing after another. Kurzweil likes to point out your average cell phone is about 1/1,000th the size, 1/1,000th the price, and of 1,000 times more powerful than the computers he had at MIT 40 years ago. Flip that forward 40 years, and what does the world look like? If you really want to figure that out, you have to think very, very far outside the box. Or maybe you have to think further inside it than anyone has ever done before. So, is it a positive thing? Is it a scary thing? Is it both?
Well, it is both because, well, one guy had said that he thinks that within 10 years there's going to be a commercial device to be implanted in your brain. Now, if you start implanting things in your brain, I mean, you're going to be more intelligent, quote unquote, because you're going to be able to basically put memory in.
Yeah.
You'll be able to just store facts. You'll
And
be able
pretty
to store
soon,
dictionary.
yep. And pretty soon it'll be like you'll have to give that to your children so just so they can keep up in class.
Yeah. Everybody sign on with your brain.
Yep. And I was watching a bunch of stuff. There's a guy named George Smoot, and he was saying they mapped the brain like back in 1992. So.
Yeah, because it's funny, because when I was a kid, they hadn't mapped the human genome yet. Now they have.
Mm-hmm.
So there you go.
They said basically they had to get somebody to sit there like for a really long time so the computer could map out the brain, you know?
Mm-hmm.
A really long time.
Now, just for some notes, I was watching a lot of that guy, Aubrey de Grey, that Pete was talking about. He really just wants to make everybody be able to regress back in age till their peak condition. He believes that it's just damage to the body, but the damage, as he sees it, is cell loss, cell atrophy, death-resistant cells, mitochondrial mutations, intracellular junk, extracellular junk, and extracellular crosslinks. Now, damage reversible by. So you got cell loss and atrophy. That's mainly cell therapy using stem cells. Then you have division cells such as cancer. He says telomerase, alt gene deletion plus periodic stem cell reseeding. I don't know what telomerase means.
Oh, that's the chemical that they gave to those rats that made them get younger.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, Pete was talking about.
Death-resistant cells, suicide genes, and immune stimulation. There's a lot of things that involve immune system stimulation too. Mitochondrial mutations, allotopic expression of 13 proteins. See, like, that's the problem with cigarettes. That's why they give you cancer. They mutate your cells. So being able to fix that would be just lovely. Intracellular junk. That's kind of like stuff that's just left over after the processes and it starts to damage the cell over time. He says transgenic microbial hydrolysis. Hydrolysis? I don't know what that means exactly. This guy's like way over my head. Sometimes he sounds crazy and sometimes he just sounds like really on point though. Extracellular junk. Phagocytosis by immune stimulation. Extracellular crosslinks. Age-breaking molecules and enzymes. He seems to really just want to isolate every single different thing that's wrong with the body and just fix it. So that if there's no ailments, his theory is that you'll just regress back until your peak condition.
You know, I think the thing with that, it really tied into nanotechnology. You know, it seems to me that it's going to be a lot easier in the future to inject nanobots into a person
Black matter.
that could essentially merge with cells, enhancing neurons, enhancing the brain.
Yeah, that's what they're saying. Like initially there should be like a surgery, and that's going to basically be to put something into your head so that all this has something to respond to, because they said that it's about making the body and the technology have a link somewhere.
Gotta communicate.
Mm-hmm.
I think nanotechnology is going to be that bridge. Because people aren't going to line up to get their heads cut open and have iPhones put in. But
Never
they
know.
will line up for a shot that gives them nanotech and turns them into an iPhone.
Uh-huh.
If you told me all I needed was a shot, if they had a cocktail in a shot that would make me regress back to like 30 and live forever, and also have the ability to access vast amounts of the repository of human information with my brain,
Sign me up, right?
yes,
I would have taken that already.
yeah,
Hey, Pete.
right now.
Are you a god?
Yes.
Yes. Yes, please. With some special sauce. Give me some extras, too. Like Wolverine claws and healing factor.
I would just be afraid that they would program things into it.
Oh, I know. That's the big
That's the
fear.
problem, yeah. When hive
Because
mind,
you would be hooked up to the internet. That's the fucked up thing. You'd be on Wi-Fi.
yeah, and we all
And then-
become the hive mind.
And then let's just say, I mean, people go crazy right now as it is, you know, seeing other people's posts that they don't agree with, and they start reading like a bunch of fucking lunatics.
Well,
So-
they'd all have the same post.
Yeah, let's just say people's minds don't explode being, like, accessing that much information all at once. Like, how would you access it, like, what you want to see and not just have everything into your brain connected, you know?
I imagine there'd be a way to turn it off so you weren't always online.
I would
I
hope
don't-
so.
You know,
I
there
don't
must
think
be a way
so.
to go into sleep mode so you can get some peace and quiet.
Can you turn your phone off? Can you turn your computer off? Can you turn... No, I don't think you could be able to turn it off. to be
Yeah,
honest.
absolutely.
No, but I mean, they still have listening devices for you.
What are you talking about? Who's listening?
The phone's always on standby.
It doesn't have to be, though.
No, not at all.
Well, I turn it off, I can still say, hey, whatever, and it still comes back on. Stop scratching me.
No,
It still
mine
comes
I have
back
to
on.
physically turn off.
Yeah, you should turn that off.
My computer, I can never get CORTANA to leave me alone.
Just
Turn it
disable
off.
it.
Disable it. Yeah.
I have over and over again.
Uninstall it.
Can I?
Go to your program files, find it, uninstall it.
I don't know if I can do that or not, because it came with it. They say don't ever do that, 'cause it... Okay, okay.
Hello, then.
Yo, what's up?
Hey,
Hey, Fed. There he is.
all right. There's a guy that was talking about exoskeleton tech, right? Now, he said that the main reason that exoskeleton tech is getting funding where other things aren't is because it's helping people with disabilities overcome disabilities. But basically, brain implants are biohacking. Today, people with dead limbs have implants and no more dead limb. Zoltan Istvan says within a decade, a commercial human brain implant will be available. Make a call from your mind or add memory, and the computer can't remember shit. But it's basically just having a link up.
I could use it. That's for sure.
Because there was this other guy. Well, one story before that. The first guy they put one of these into, right? He had a dead limb, so he had a thing that would make it control the dead limb, right?
Oh,
Which
yeah, I
is
seen
cool.
that, Jesse.
But his wife also got one put in, and I don't know why, right? But they linked the two of them, and he could feel when she was closing her hand.
Weird.
That's fucked. I think they should have immediately gone into the bedroom to see what that was like.
Maybe they did.
Because I just busted both of our nuts at once. Me too.
Okay, they did something like that in that movie, what was it, Strange Days?
Yeah, Strange
Days
Days with the little
bullshit.
squid head.
Yes. Yep.
You know, I can't help but think. Perhaps somewhere out in the cosmos, out in the vast, dark reaches of space, some civilization, 1,000,000 years older than ours, has already achieved their singularity. And what would the next logical course of action be? to head out for the fucking stars, man.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like
Absolutely.
as goofy as it
Nothing
sounds,
there.
and it's gonna sound goofy. Transformers kind of makes sense because any sufficiently advanced robotic life would probably outlive the organic machines, the organic life that created it.
That built them, yeah.
You know, or you know they merge with technology and decided to go explore space because you have the time to. If you knew you could go out to Alpha Centauri and come back, and let's say it took you, well, I don't even know how many years it takes. Let me just throw out a number. Let's say it took 60 years to go and come back, and with whatever technology. You live forever. What's it matter? You know, because you'd still come back, and everybody you know would be alive.
Yeah, but that's just the point. At that point of the singularity, do we become one with this tool of mankind, this benevolent intelligence, or is it just going to turn us into pets?
It'd take about 100 years and an average velocity of approximately 14,411
No.
kilometers. So about 100 years, Pete.
Yeah, so you could
You
live,
get to Alpha Centauri.
be 300 here. You could go 100 years. You could spend 300 years there, come back, still got 200 years of your life left.
It'd take over 4 years for the data to get back to Earth.
That's with current technology.
With current technology, that's true. You're doing 4.5% speed of light to get there. 100 years.
Fuck that. One of us is gonna find a way to breach
Yeah,
Yeah,
holding
faster
space.
than light travel or something like
Yeah.
that. We'll find a way.
It's that gravity drive, man.
Well, there's that thing down in the southern region, that place, nobody wants to talk about. Anyway, they're looking at it. There actually is I think it's called a Belmar or whatever. It's a type of a black hole. Anyway, it's about 4.5 billion years away from the Earth. And so at the, like, above and below, it's constantly, expelling matter. And they're pretty sure that, the matter that's coming out of a black hole is not from here. It's from
Right.
whatever bendy time
knows
space
where.
that's going on inside of it.
Yeah.
So it's spitting out basically matter from another dimension into our dimension.
Yeah.
Except in, small wave particles, shit like that, a signal. Anyway, so apparently they picked this up in 2014, I think was when they really started studying it, was these neutrino emissions down in Antarctica. And yeah, they're finding out
Yeah, that was the latest news about Antarctica.
they're basically extra dimensional in origin, or possibly.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
that's, everybody got the theory about, it's fucking, oh my god, NASA found another dimension, all that shit.
CERN.
But this is one of those things I'm like, it's little advances like that, little things like that could possibly lead to advancements that,
We
I know.
haven't thought of yet.
yeah, new types of energy transfers, things of that nature. Maybe quantum states that we're not aware of yet. Anything to push things in that direction.
I wonder if you'd have a whole bunch of people like debating on whether or not to even do that. Like debating on whether or not it's an unfair advantage or, screw you, let me be natural, that sort of thing.
You know what I'd look at them and say? I never asked for this, as I push him away with my robotic arm.
That's great.
Yeah, and then like what kind of advances and stuff would it even give?
I was watching Bill Gates talk about this. He seemed to believe in like a technological evolution of things. He said when people talk about the future, I have a strange obsession with the present. Of the singularity, he thinks that the singularity is a point when the artificial intelligence will surpass human intelligence, but that will be very humbling. But he thinks that it's basically the AI, no matter what it becomes, is still a computer simulation, and that computer simulation is just a tool. Like basically, he doesn't think data is a person. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So he says one day it's going to happen, but it's going to take 5 times as long as people think it's going to take. He says that he's not a cheater of death, and he has no intentions on being frozen or preserved or to be transferred into anything. He wants to make room for those that are meant to come after him.
Hey, Fed, there's something called Project Longshot. You heard of that?
What's that?
It's developed by the U.S. Naval Academy and NASA from 1987 to 1988. Longshot was designed to be built at Space Station Freedom, the precursor to the existing International Space Station. Similar to Project Daedalus, Longshot was designed with existing technology in mind, although some development would have been required. For example, the Project Longshot concept assumes a 3 order of magnitude leap over current propulsion technology.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
There may have been also like I know JPL NASA. I think it's back in. Fuck, I know when was I out here? I think it was like 2004, 2005. I think.
Okay.
Anyway, JPL NASA had made a breakthrough on an ion drive.
Oh.
So basically, like a think of it like a blow dryer or whatever, but it's long and short of it's a nuclear jet engine for space.
Ion thruster.
Yeah, it's TIE Fighter, Star Wars, the fucking TIE Fighter's twin ion engine fighter. It's that shit. Sublight drives, basically. That eventually, if you full thrust them or whatever, with should.
Yeah,
Depending on the amount of thrust you're putting out, like within about a year or less, you should be hitting light speed.
It ionizes a neutral gas by extracting some electrons out of atoms, creating a cloud of positive ions. These ion thrusters rely mainly on statics as ions are accelerated by the Coulomb force along with electric field, temporarily store electrons and finally re-injected by a neutralizer in the cloud of ions after it has passed through the electrostatic grid, so the gas becomes neutral again and can freely disperse in space without any further electrical interaction with the thruster.
Dude, like, I can't wait until they build like the because it's going to come, like, for launching out deep space probes, reconnaissance aircraft, reconnaissance ships and stuff like that. We'll eventually move into putting, like, more or less like a, how do I put this, a giant railgun that shoots fucking ships out of it.
It's not a bad idea.
They sound like.
I'll take one of those.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly, because, once you get a ship up into 0G, like, you just lock everybody in. You don't have half the problems with gravitation, stuff like that, G-forces and all that, so you can fucking slingshot those motherfuckers fast as shit. Like, get them up in orbit and then load them up and shoot them off into the distance. And it'd be cool, like, if, we get the cyborg guys, extended lifespans, all that sort of stuff, means we can stay alive longer, we'll be able to survive harsher environments and conditions, be able to explore our solar system more effectively. Like, yeah, I can see them using genetic engineering. What was that one? There was a movie, I fell asleep watching it and never went back to it, but there was one with Sam Worthington, I think it was on Netflix or whatever, where they genetically engineered him to basically go live on one of Saturn's moons.
Oh wow, okay.
Like, they made like a whole new species of human being to live there, and he became like the first Titan or whatever.
Just remember him, that crappy Terminator.
Pete, you're muted.
One wonders if these gray aliens that people report on could be beings that incorporated technology into their bodies, and that's the end result.
Yeah.
System scan complete.
Yeah.
I mean, it would make sense. Like, if you're an organic species, you know, if life works in other places like it does here, like, take away crystalline entities, all that sort of shit. Just
Crystalline entities, yes.
right. Just, you know, blobs of goo that eventually evolve into like a proto-humanoid kind of form. Anyway, sentient life, organic in nature. So most things are not going to have biological capability. They're not going to be like a tardigrade that can, you know, float around in space for a couple hundred years. Or what people think is such. I'm like, yeah, they don't last that long. They're hardy little fuckers, but they're not that hardy. But, you know, you would need to increase your survivability, and the only way to really do that is to either screw around with your genetics or just replace the biological components altogether.
Okay.
Preferably, you would want to transfer yourself, if you're going to travel space and everything, really you would want to transfer yourself into some sort of like a biomechanical construct or something that is very easy to fix, make parts for it, you know, grow parts, whatever else. Or have the technology to indefinitely sustain and keep your physical form. You know, and then have, for exploration, some sort of exoskeletal structure and stuff like that to protect you, spacesuits.
I could foresee a multi-generational spaceship that would be roughly like a small moon.
Yeah.
You know, it would have to be large enough to sustain a population capable of growing during the trip.
Yeah.
So like I said, if they're headed towards Alpha Centauri, you know, there's people going to be having babies on the way.
Yeah.
And if you're in a portal, you're going to need a pretty big ship to get there.
Yeah, they actually, I think it's called Craft Worlds.
Well, you know, if you have all these people living this long, going on a spaceship to another planet to populate it, it's probably heavily promoted
Yeah.
to just bang everybody who's not pregnant right now.
Well, no, there's already programs that exist for, you know, future stuff and everything. Anyway, but people that have signed up, so it's like they're looking at possibly the future of space travel will be like married couples, things like that, you know, male-female component. So you can go someplace, land, start having kids,
Makes
shit
sense.
like that, makes families and stuff like that. You basically send the people going to build the colony are the colony.
Uh-huh.
You know,
Now-
by the time they get there, they have all their kids and shit to help them. So it's like, I don't know, space Mormons.
Space
Yeah.
Mormons.
Or an ark,
Yeah.
eventually.
Yeah, pretty much.
You know, because you'd have to bring animals with you. You'd have to bring
Yeah.
seeds. You'd have to
Yeah.
bring everything you need to land that sucker and colonize the planet.
You imagine this, you start off with 10 couples, right? 20 people, you send them to a new world to colonize it and everything. Say it takes them, you know, 2 generations to get there. Even though you live that long and everything else, by the time you get there, your population is doubled or quadrupled in size.
Mm-hmm.
Depending on, you know, how much brown chicken wow wow is going on the ship from there.
Like I'm saying, heavily promoted.
Yeah, right, exactly. You'd be like, dude,
I'm
you
afraid
just,
to fix it.
preferably you would just want like a porn ship.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just 24
Yeah, the Horville.
hours.
I went over this before. It's called the
Yeah.
Horville.
The Horville, I love that.
Now, DJ B2 says, what if the moon was originally a spaceship? And there's many theories that the moon was a derelict spaceship
I think it is.
flown into our orbit.
So,
It's a
Well,
Death
they're
Star.
saying that sometimes there was stuff, literature about with 2 moons too, right?
Oh yeah, Fatty, Battlestar Galactica. I fucking love the sci-fi series version of that, just the concept for it. It was pretty cool.
Yeah, that was cool. That's a good one.
I watched the 2-hour movie premiere that they did before the series started.
Yeah.
I have it on DVD. I think I have the first season of Battlestar on DVD too, but I just couldn't get into it.
No.
Didn't do it for me.
It yeah, first season kind of, it's like all shows. First season's kind of, you either fucking come out swinging hard, or it's just kind of, it hadn't quite found its footing yet, or tone or anything. Season 2 got way better. Season 3 kind of drifted a little bit, and then season 4 they closed it decently strong. Like, it still had a lot of fucking like plot holes, shit like that, but overall pretty fucking entertaining. And I loved once the whole divinity aspect started coming into play. It's like, oh shit, dude, there's like this, you think it's, we're running from toasters and gonna have a battle in space, and all of a sudden you're like, wait, there's gods and shit that exist? There's actually some sort of force this is all like supposed to happen like this? What the fuck?
Now, Patio 57 points out,
Pretty cool.
not the new one, the old one, 70 Space Babes. Wasn't Dirk in that, but better known as Face from the 18.
Face, man.
Yeah.
Fractious drive charging.
Face was my favorite of the 18.
Dude, my favorite's definitely Gallagher.
Comedian?
Gallagher. No, it's just what I thought for a minute. Oh,
Smashing pumpkin. Smashing those fucking watermelons, right?
Yeah, I'm having a brain fart.
Cantaloupe and everything
Are you
else.
thinking of Murdoch?
Yes.
Mad Dog Murdoch.
They just seem the same to me for some reason right now.
He was also Broccoli on Star Trek The Next Generation.
Mhm.
True.
Broccoli.
Lieutenant Barkley. Reg Bart.
But he was the guy who figured out how to get a message to Voyager, but nobody believed him. Good stuff. Good recurring character. You know what I was always partial to was Buck Rogers, more so than...
Beady.
Yeah.
Yo,
That dude,
do that rude fucking tweaker robot and shit.
yeah. Buck Rogers and Erin Gray. Erin Gray was on that show. She was a pretty attractive lady. You might also know her from Silver Spoons.
Hey, can I tell you guys a quick thing?
Yeah.
There's this guy named Jim Ewing, right? Now, he went hiking, and he was a mountain climber, so, like, there was this place down in the Caribbean that he went to where it was this big rock face over the ocean, and he decides, I'm going to climb this. So he does, and he falls, and he loses a leg. But there was this group of doctors called Team Cyborg, and instead of just cutting off the leg, they did it using this program called AMI, which is agonist antagonist myoneural interface, where they put electrodes into the muscle where the nerves are, because they're not cut off yet. They have to do it in a certain way. It's not just like a normal amputation. And that way it allows signals not just to travel from the brain implant to the artificial leg, but back again, so that the person actually has like a sensation of feeling. But on top of that, they use opposing muscles to create a naturally unnatural path that makes the person feel everything, because it has that natural muscle function moved right into the robotic limbs. It's hard to say, but you know what I mean, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they successfully did this operation, and it really worked well. It was unbelievably natural when he walked. During one of the tests, he stepped on a roll of electrical tape, and without thinking, he just like shook it off his foot like it was a real foot, and they weren't expecting that. The end of that story is basically Jim returned to where he fell and lost his leg. He completed the climb using the cyborg leg.
Yeah. That's cool.
But the guy who makes all this kind of stuff possible, I guess his name is Yu Her, But he's saying that with this kind of technology, there's no reason not to have wings put in that you can feel. And he thinks that people are going to be flying around in the future.
Oh wow.
Or anything else you could think of. If you want a scorpion tail, why not? Let's put it on.
Heh.
Go right off the bottom of your spine.
Yeah, well, like when they amputate a cat tail, there's a nerve that runs down, obviously, and they take it and they pull it really taut outside of the cat's body and snap it so it goes up further, so the end of the cat's tail doesn't hurt, because otherwise you have like a raw, exposed nerve at the end. And they basically do that, I think, with the amputees too. They snap them up inside the main nerves.
Well, then they should be able to access something like that again, right?
Yeah.
Give the cat a monkey tail.
Yeah, anything.
Yeah, Doc Ock, precisely. Yep, more soft disclosure from Marvel Comics.
You're right.
Either that or just Stan Lee is ahead of the curve.
Or Stanley.
Dude, I didn't realize Gary Coleman was on Buck Rogers.
I didn't either.
I'm
What?
looking at a picture of him right now. He's standing next to Tweaky. Beep, beep, beep. I was like, wait, Wiki, Twicky. I'm like, oh, you son of a bitch. That's where we got WikiLeaks and all that. Beady beady.
Can I bring up something that might be a little weird?
No.
Now, let's say that, like, they're using stuff like this to cure blindness, right? Because they can make artificial eyes.
Mm-hmm.
So, well, let's say a military-industrial complex wants to take this a step further. What if they do make some kind of super soldier program where they have somebody's eyes
What if?
replaced?
What if?
Yeah, exactly.
What if? Yeah.
Jesse,
Like, what if your eyes are perfectly fine? They're like,
Tell
no,
him,
we're going to
Ben.
upgrade you.
Tell him, Fed.
look, 35 years ago, they started putting wet wire implants in people. It read nerve impulses and then started doing wet wire implants into the brain. What they were doing is trying to make blind people see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They actually got it into like it was really basic. They could only see
Yeah.
like light and darkness,
Dark.
shadows, real basic outlines of shit.
Yeah.
But
Yep.
it worked for the most part. Anyway, fast forward 35 years. Where do you think they're at now?
They're pretty
Especially
damn
considering
far.
all the work just like evaporated and was put in classified.
They're pretty damn far. They're seeing a
I'm
lot
like,
better.
you're seeing the stuff on the commercial market that's available, where it's like literally, instead of having to be intrusive and put the electrodes inside, now they're just able to read the nerve impulses from the surface of the skin. So they don't actually have to do wet wire implants anymore.
Oh, that's much
Look,
better.
yeah, like if you look though, like a lot of the new prosthetics and stuff like that that are
Mhm.
coming out, they're semi-powered. They're made of like carbon fibers and stuff like that, certain types of tissues, and the way like these carbon fiber wraps are done, it simulates actual muscle tissue so that if you apply a little bit of electrical current, it tenses up. If you let it off, it retracts, just like a muscle, so it moves like a muscle would.
Yep.
Put those in conjunction all together in a prosthetic, all of a sudden you have a dude that got his leg blown off in Iraq running around and fucking running a marathon.
Yep.
This just happened 2 years ago out of, I think it was University of Texas. We're already there. We have like full-on
Yeah.
cyborg technologies.
Yes.
Wet wire, like we went beyond wet wire implants. Now it's just you can read the nerve impulses from close range like Bluetooth waves. That's how well it is. You can read neurosynaptic functions, all of that, alpha, theta wave, brainwave activity, all of that remotely without ever having to put anything in the body.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think it's Fujitsu Heavy Industries right now is working with Hyundai, and I forget what the fucking Chinese company is called, but basically it's a for like heavy equipment operators and everything, next generation of like heavy earth diggers and movers and shit like that.
So let me ask you a question.
They'll be able to drive it.
If they
by
can make
thought.
something that just has to touch you, and they could read you, basically,
Mhm.
then why not just put that into a towel and use it for espionage and not tell anybody?
Maybe they already do.
Or put it, memory foam, Steal
Yep.
memories while you sleep.
There you go.
They thought I was crazy. I'm not fucking crazy. Not one bit. I ain't know why memory foam steals your memories, but now I do.
Memory foam.
Was it implanting?
All I know is memory foam is mighty comfortable.
And you know, what about all these people who get abducted by aliens and they get a chip in their head? Are they just guinea pigs?
Pretty much.
Yeah. And that's made to think they were abducted.
Just like the X-Files, more soft as
Yeah.
murder. What the hell?
Well,
The aliens are going to come down here one day and they're like, look, I don't know why they're blaming us for all this shit, but
Right.
it's totally your own government. And we're all going to be like, no, really?
Well, there have been enough of those things recovered, and when they've done like metallurgic tests and stuff on them, they're not, they're unknown material.
yeah, they've had some people, actually have them removed and studied, yeah. They don't really look like a chip either. It's usually like a piece of metal, really. It just looks like a
Yeah.
Like a little sliver of something,
sliver, yeah, exactly, fed.
you know, or, you know, like what we're doing now. Hey, here, we can put this, it's about the size of a grain of rice. We stick it in the webbing of your thumb, between your thumb and your forefinger.
Yeah.
That has your entire life, all your digital information, access codes, bank accounts, all of it. Your entire
Everything.
fucking life on a little chip in your thumb,
Scary.
right? But I'm like, yeah, people, it's here. I was like, everybody's like, oh, there's transhumanists. I'm like, no, they're not a small group of people, dude. These are like movers and shakers in the world pushing this.
Oh, yeah.
Like, humanity is going this route, whether it wants to or not.
You know the wealthy already have it, so...
It almost has to, or it's gonna destroy itself. I mean,
We're already in like early test phasing. Everybody's walking around, you know, we're already cyborgs and don't even realize it.
we all have
Our
technology
phones.
at our fingertips.
Right.
Our phones.
That's what they
Sure.
said. They figured if you have to have a surgery to have something like this put in, most people are going to say no because it falls actually under preventative medicine to have something that could improve you later put in. But they said once it gets to a nano phase where it goes in the shop, most people are going to be like, hell yeah, I need that.
I think we already have it.
That's what I'm thinking, Mecca.
Yeah, cell phones are training wheels for transhumanists, pretty much.
Yep.
There was another one, like Google Glass. That was another early attempt with augmented reality and everything. Now you should see the news systems. They've been working with like Boeing and Lockheed and all these different private corporations. Like, man, that program is fucking expanded in ways that I'm like, dude, the general public, like, no wonder it bombed, because the general public, they're gonna look at porn on it.
General public radio.
Right, or, you know, look up directions to whatever. They're going to do, like, menial tasks and shit like that, where it's like, it's better put to use somewhere else. Because it's a full heads-up display. But, yeah, now that all the other stuff they put it to, like, put it this way, for, like, warehousing and logistics alone, just bring in goods and services. So everything will have its little QR code or whatever, so as you're looking around, you got your glasses on doing your work. As you're looking around at stuff,
Classes.
well, yeah, as you're looking around at stuff, it automatically, if you stop and your eyes, you look at that QR code, everything pops up. It's
Yeah.
whole shipping data, shipping records, every
Tell you
digital
where
track
items
record of
are.
it.
Yeah, tell you where
Exactly.
stuff is, pick it up.
If it's been through tariffs, what ports it's been through, its entire history, and every piece of article of whatever in it.
Yeah.
You know, and also material safety data handling sheets on everything inside of it and around it as well.
Yeah.
You know, it's like all this mass data, and you never have to touch a screen, keyboard, nothing. It's all by eye movement. You focus, stare for like 1 second, and blink.
Well, isn't that how Stephen Hawking's computer worked?
Pretty much, yeah.
Mhm.
That's what it's based off of, was some of those early systems. Now it's being put in private sector, and they said let's put it this way. You know how awesome it is for welders to be able to have equipment set up, be able to do scanning, like be able to weld and then immediately scan it to make sure there's no cracks and shit. And all that real-time data is like popping up on their feed. So it's done in seconds rather than, okay, I got to do all this and then take it over here and have this done. But if it's screwed up, then I got to go back, do this. You can just, boom, right there on the spot. And it's done. It's made things so much more expedient.
Yep.
Same thing with like Amazon.
Yeah.
Right now, I was looking at Amazon's about to fucking push this through all their distro centers. Same thing, augmented reality. You put the glasses on, no longer have to have handheld scanners and all that shit. You just look at it. Focus
Put
on
on
your
glasses and trying to save you and your family.
Right, pretty much. But yeah, as you're on the line scanning packages and stuff in, you just boom, 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 boom. Much faster. So they can do a poor job faster.
Yeah.
I know, I gotta give Amazon a lot of credit. They move a lot of shit and very rarely
Yeah, you can do orders now. Yeah, you do an order in the morning, then you can get literally same day delivery that afternoon, you know?
like I've had a couple orders get screwed up, but not many.
Yeah, and it's usually their logistics company that screw them up, though. It's never like FedEx or USPS or UPS.
Since they started sending the gray Amazon trucks around, I haven't had a single fucking order
Oh, I
screwed
do.
up.
They're like retarded. They deliver next door, and a lot of stuff gets stolen out of our Davenport location for some reason. Stolen. Just
Lane Teague is telling me I've got sunglasses that are Bluetooth bone conducted. Shit sounds like it's in your head.
oh, cool.
That is
Because it is.
You know, but I just think about it like, you know, just the amount that we rely on technology. I had no power for 30-something hours over here.
You were
And I was
freaking
at
out.
absolute loss. Like, I couldn't get my phone to work because the tower was down. I had no electricity here, so the lights were off. You know, it was a real to-do. And, you know, it's like, without that juice, without that resource, everything is just kind of like screwed.
Yeah,
You go back to 1900 real quick. You know what I mean?
back to basics.
Yep. And it sucks.
Honey, where's the North Star? We need to navigate.
It is unpleasant. Like, you know, that was one of the problems we had is, like, without the internet, because our phones weren't working, because the tower was down, we couldn't look up motels in the area to see what the phone numbers were, to call and see if they had vacancies. So that was the downside to that too. So yeah, it goes to show that you got to be prepared for these kind of things. Hand crank radio, you know, backup batteries for flashlights and lanterns. You know, you need these kind of
I
things.
broke mine, damn it, last season. Need to
What,
get
your hand
another
crank
one.
radio?
Yes, I broke the crank. Snapped off. So I get for buying a cheap one, I guess. Gotta get another one. Gotta get another one. It's already hurricane season.
Yeah, I'll tell you, I don't envy you down there in Florida with those hurricanes. You know, we just had this 65-mile-an-hour wind storm come through.
That's bad too,
And
yeah.
it knocked out power of something like
Oh, I know.
70,000 people.
I think for the most part, they're around here, they'll come around and they trim out the trees and everything before hurricane season hits. I mean, it doesn't always help, but it helps a lot. You know, they take off, you know, any of the dead limbs and stuff. That helps quite a bit. Clean them up a
Range
little bit.
Lunatic is telling me if you get a generator, try to get one that runs off natural gas. That way you want to keep refilling it. Dr. Ford also mentions that's why I have a natural gas generator.
Good
Hurricane
call.
Amber. Yeah, I wasn't even, I'm not quite sure. I don't know very much about generators.
I was going to say get one with a bicycle so you could turn it around.
Oh, I never turned it around. I'm happy to report that when I was months ago, or when I turned 40, I announced I was going to turn it around. I'm happy to report today that I have gone from 186 pounds to 167.
Little
Alright.
skinny mini over there. Congratulations on that.
Yes, as of last night, 167 pounds. So yes,
Wow.
I lost a little bit of the boobs.
Oh,
No more boobs.
No more boobs
No more
and
boobs
stash is
to play
coming in
with.
nicely.
If
Yeah,
I was
the stash is coming in, the
167
summer of the
pounds,
stash.
you would think
That's
that I
right.
had cancer.
What was that?
I said if I was 167 pounds, you would think that I had cancer.
Well, you're taller.
Yeah. Pete should be
I don't know,
about
I'm just
140,
fucking wide.
145, right?
Yeah, you know what? I think between that and like, 155.
155, yes.
So are you gonna put on your hipster pants now?
They're not hipster pants. They're just alpha cut.
Hell yeah, he's going to. Are you kidding me?
Are you sure they're not capris?
They're not capri.
They're not capri.
They are Dockers alpha cut khakis. They're
Yeah.
jean cut.
Alpha.
khakis. Yes, that's what they're called.
Alpha.
Jean cut khakis. So they're khaki material, but they're cut like jeans.
Yeah.
Because I don't wear
Isn't that
jeans.
incredibly uncomfortable.
I don't like jeans.
No, I don't wear jeans. I think jeans are uncomfortable.
Jeans are uncomfortable. Too thick.
Yeah, they're thick. They're hot.
Mm-hmm.
Eh.
They're
Yep.
gross. You gotta like not wash them. You know?
Yes, they're comfortable. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't care for jeans. That's why I get the khakis.
I'm a cargo pants fan, but boots look funny with cargo pants, so you have to have something
Shitty.
to black about.
City boots would look awful funny with cargo pants.
They do. Looks like you're like what are you trying to be, a genie?
See, I wear a shelter toe option. That's the kind of shoe I like.
Why are you calling it a shelter toe? What's the difference?
Give me shelter.
That's what Docker's called.
Oh, that's just the name of the shoe.
It's I guess it's the way they shape the front of the shoe.
Yeah, I got
Called
you.
merchandising.
You know. But I usually get a pair in black and I get a pair in brown.
Uh-huh.
You know, they're about $60. You
Then
know,
you're set.
2 pairs of shoes, you're set for everything. I got a brown belt. I got a black belt.
So you actually have the brown pants in case the shit hits the fan.
No, I've got wine, gray, blue, almost like the color of the.
You got dark gray and light gray.
Oh no, it's a light gray.
Okay.
Light gray. I've got black, green, olive green.
Olive green's a good color.
Yeah. I got a lot of them.
All
That's
my
a lot.
pants are
Here's
black.
you are fancy. You know what? That's all right. I embrace it. You know what? I like things to be a certain way.
Uh-huh.
You
You
know,
have spats?
no, I don't have spats. I'm not wearing tuxedos. You know what I'm saying?
What
I'm
are
not
what
wearing tuxtails.
spats?
Yeah, those white things that go over your shoes.
Yeah.
Oh God. Okay. I didn't know they're called spats.
Android 17 wingtips and all that. I do like wingtip shoes. They are nice.
Wingtip
All of my
shoes.
pants are black.
Yeah, all my pants are black.
I used to wear nothing but black back in my punk rock days. But
Yeah, imagine.
these days.
You're still in your punk rock days. Have you listened to you?
We're on our punk rock.
Do you
days.
like the man more now or something?
No, I really don't. I really don't. I do wear true spec khaki pants. When my uncle retired as a sheriff, he gave me all his tactical pants, and they're pretty good in the woods, says Lean T.
Oh, yeah?
You know what? Yeah, I like the material. I like that khaki material.
Yeah,
I think that it's
Cotton.
thin enough. It's cotton. It breathes.
yeah. I hate
Yeah.
polyester. So much shit is mainly polyester blend. It's
No.
so hot.
Denim is cotton too, but
Yeah, but it's too thick.
yeah. But I digress. Shadow says the Jesuits. Yeah, the Jesuits. You got to watch out for the Jesuits. They've always got their hand in something. They move in the shadows. As a shadow, coincidentally, that's what the Jesuits do. Very sneaky organization. The Society of Jesus, they're called. They've started many universities. There's one in the Philadelphia area called St. Joe's. They've got a good basketball team.
There you go.
Pete looks like a magic outfit kind of guy. What do you mean, like a magician? Or like robes? Because I could throw in some, top hat. Oh, that kind of magic. Pulling rabbits out of hats and such. Who needs that cape? Yes, Dr. Foreman Colossus, I do need that cape. I gotta pull the trigger on that cape.
No, you don't.
The time has come to buy a cape.
Look. Telling you as a friend.
You already got the okay from Amy, still right?
Yeah, but you got to keep in mind that Amy is Pete's wife, and hence she wants to have things to make fun of him about.
No,
And
no.
a cape would be a perfect opportunity
No,
for such an
she
event.
don't make fun of him. No, Amy's not that type.
Look, if she takes a picture of you in this cape, how many of her friends do you think she's gonna send that shit to?
I don't know.
All of them.
Here's my husband in his cape.
She's gonna be like, look, my husband bought a
Yeah,
cape.
she
Actually, I do
She's
have
a
a pretty
sweetheart.
cool winter coat that I like. It's a top coat. So it's long. You know,
okay,
it's long. It's black. It's wool,
like a trench.
like a trench, but
It's high talking.
more sleek. It doesn't have the belt.
No.
You know, yeah. There's no belt on it or anything. It's not like a duster or anything. It's a top coat.
Yeah,
Okay.
top coats are nice.
Yeah, it's really. I really like it. I really
Beats
do
the
like
shit out of a cape.
But I got too fat to fit in it, so I couldn't wear it this winter. That's why I'm happy to be trimming down a little bit.
Is that why you want a cape? Because a cape is one size fits all.
Yeah, like Homer when he gets fat.
Exactly, over his moo with his little. What kind of cap is that? Like the handicap cap he had?
Yeah, it's like a Dom DeLuise cap.
Tam. Is it a tam?
I don't know. What's a tail? Let me look at it.
Oh shit.
No,
No.
it's not a tam. Tam hat. It's like it's a Scottish bonnet.
Yeah. Yeah, I haven't
It's not a
seen
doctoral
what
tam.
you guys are talking about. It's me to guess.
You know what? I just typed Dom space DE, and the first result is Dom DeLuise hat.
Of course,
Because
because
this
it's
thing is
listening to
listening.
you.
Yeah.
Told you.
Yep.
All right, so let's talk about rough anal and see what pops up.
Oh no, it's not.
No, yes.
That's the after stream, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll do that on your channel when we review sex toys.
Yes.
Yeah. Homer when he gets fat. I just wanted to watch Honk If You're Horny in peace. Then they offer him a trash bag and go away.
They offered a bunch of popcorn. I remember that.
Sir, unfortunately our theater can't accommodate someone of your carriage, but we will offer you a complimentary trash bag of popcorn.
He's like, I can't be bought. Wait a minute. Yes, I can.
You promised Mom you wouldn't go out in your moo-moo. Nuts to that, I'm going to the movies. This is funny. My favorite part of that episode is Lisa's on the bus. And somebody's making fun of her for her dad being so fat. And then she snaps back, and then Homer goes by an ice cream truck he stole, dragging a coat in his mouth.
You poor bastard.
Truck off that guy. Oh my god.
It's funny.
Yeah, that's funny stuff. Oh, good times, good times. Oh, it used to be such a good show.
Yeah. The good old days.
Yep, that's how it goes. Things used to be funny. They're not funny anymore.
No, you're not allowed to laugh at shit. It's not allowed.
I just don't think that the writing is as solid as it used to be, personally.
No.
I don't think it's about anything other than
Good
that.
call.
I think that they just don't have solid writing. I mean, consider people who used to write for The Simpsons. Guys like Conan O'Brien did some of the most seminal episodes.
He wrote the monorail.
Yeah.
Monorail.
Monorail. Yeah. So yeah, I
What's
just
that
I don't
word?
think the writing talent is there. I think that what happened to The Simpsons, personally, and I know this is totally off topic, but we're well past the point of talking about the singularity and transcendent transhumanism, robots and stuff.
I didn't get to tell you the religious part. Okay.
Now we're just done talking about The Simpsons, but that's okay, because The
Yeah.
Simpsons are amazing.
But I think what happened with The Simpsons is when the show came out, it was subversive, it was controversial. I remember as a kid, they were banning Bart Simpson T-shirts in schools.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
There were
Reading about
organizations that were anti-Bart Simpson because he was an underachiever and proud of it.
Mhm.
People were very upset about The Simpsons.
Oh yeah.
And The Simpsons was subversive and fresh. But what happened is, the people who write for The Simpsons now weren't even alive when The Simpsons started.
Exactly.
So what they're doing is they're writing basically a parody of what The Simpsons was.
Yeah.
You know, it's just it doesn't have the teeth that it used to have.
Yeah, but you know what? They used to have all that kind of, for the time it was shocking type of stuff. But at the same time, they would still deliver an actual storyline.
Yeah, well, there'd be a storyline. There'd usually be a moral.
Mhm.
You know, and it also had heart. You know, because at the heart of it's about a family. I think that it lost a lot of that.
Yeah, like remember in Bart the General how he was talking about there is no good war.
Mm-hmm.
Like they don't do shit like that anymore.
No, it's just not what it used to be. It's a shame. And you know what? I know all of them are on Disney Plus, and I haven't even bothered to watch an episode since they've been on there.
Why again?
You know, but now I kind of want to watch the Fat Homer episode.
There's nothing wrong with it.
Yeah, that's a good one. I think the first 8 seasons are really good. Well,
Yeah.
the seasons like 3 through 10 probably pretty good. Yeah, because the first season's a little rough. That's when they were coming off the Tracy Ullman show and they were just developing the show.
Yep.
You know,
Agreed.
it's just a
Hadn't
little,
gotten the groove yet.
yeah, it hadn't found its footing yet. But yeah, a classic show that's been around too long. I think they should have just kind of let it go, you know, gracefully rather than to keep riding the poor bastard out.
Yeah, it should have been canceled.
Yeah, it should be over. You know, it should have been over when the movie came out.
We need something just as controversial today to replace it.
Yeah, and not for nothing. Wasn't the
Good luck
movie
with
fucking
that.
terrible? The movie was just terrible.
Yeah, the movie was no good. It was like a long episode.
Yeah, but it's like you finally have a Simpsons movie, so you're going to take them out of Springfield and go to Alaska for some reason.
Yeah, makes no sense. Kyla McGee says, is there something wrong with Jesse? He looks less furry than usual. Or does he get a twin we don't know about?
Somebody finally knows.
I got sheared.
Kyla says, you look good. You look 20 years younger.
Yay! He
Well,
got a haircut.
I am immortal. I keep telling everybody that. Nobody seems to believe me because of all the cigarettes I smoke. That's why I like to laugh and tell people I'm going to outlive you and then light another cigarette. Like, fuck you. And I'm like, just wait.
Yeah, next step on turning it around is I got to give up this thing, this crutch over here. Got to let go of the vape. I don't think it's good stuff. I don't think it's good for you.
Probably
No.
not.
None of it is.
No. Anything that's fun ain't good for you. Or tasty.
And that's why everybody loves crazy broads.
There you go. But Ben says
No, it's like tasty things that I
you'll put it in crazy. Right, Ben?
I've been really all about pickles lately.
Yeah,
I got
pickles
3
are
jars
good.
of pickles in the fridge right now.
I
3
do too, Pete.
because I really enjoy pickles.
Yeah, I
they're
got
great.
the bread, butter, the sliced ones for sandwiches, and then the regular kosher ones, you know?
I got kosher dill spears and the sandwich slices.
Yeah, I got those 2, and then I got bread and butter ones.
But we got 3 because I was going through the pickles so fast. Like I'm
Uh,
eating pickles like, you know.
that's
for
yeah,
snacks.
there is zero. I mean, those. There's nothing fattening in those either. It's
Oh,
like
I mean, just
zero.
cucumbers and vinegar. I mean, it's
Yeah.
really all you're eating, you know.
Yeah, it's a good thing to snack on if you're wanting to lose weight. That's for sure.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, I'd probably lose weight a lot quicker if I cut out these Coca-Colas.
Yeah, big time you will.
But I'm down to I just drink 2 a day now. Instead
That's not bad.
of going crazy on 4.
That's not bad.
I'm gonna work it down to 1 a day, and
That's not
then
bad at all.
kick it to down.
Anywhere you can cut out sugar is a quick help.
Fatio 57 says bread and butter on hamburgers with some mustard. I never really liked bread and butter chips. You don't do it for me.
I like them, obviously.
Yeah, on a burger, I like to
I
have
don't
the
like-
same crisp dill pickle slices.
I never
Yeah.
tried them on a hamburger though. That sounds good. I'll have to try that. I gotta order groceries tomorrow. Maybe I will do that.
Today, we had, like I said, we went over to my folks because we had no power here. So we went back to Philly. We were at my parents for about 5 hours, and the power came back on. So we came over. We brought all the food with us to put in. They have a second fridge.
Mm-hmm.
So we brought all the food with us to stuff in the fridge. It was a real pain in the butt.
I imagine.
But I had two New York strips that I had thawed because I planned on making them yesterday.
Okay.
And if I didn't cook them today, they weren't going to last.
Right.
So I got through them on my folks' grill, had them with some sauteed mushrooms,
Ooh.
and a baked potato.
Oof.
Very good, very good.
I bet.
A little A1 sauce on there. Put a little adobo. You got to get the adobo on there.
And cream cheese on your potato, I'd imagine.
No, sour cream.
Sour cream, sorry.
Yeah. And unfortunately, we did have sour cream from the taco night the other day.
Ah.
So yeah, it was good. I realized that I don't eat enough baked potatoes.
Yeah, they always go bad on me. Matter of fact, I was going to make some tonight, and I picked up the bag, and it looked like I was growing a garden.
See, we got a 5-pound bag of them right now, and normally I just do mashed potatoes. But baked potatoes...
Yeah, they're easy, too. You can just poke holes in them and put them in the microwave if you want.
Yeah, I don't eat them all the time, but once in a while, a good baked potato is awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, me neither.
I rub them with oil, and I poke a bunch of holes in them,
Uh-huh.
and I salt it.
Uh-huh.
You salt it?
Yeah, I salt it before I roast it. And because the oil's on there, the salt sticks.
Yeah, yeah.
And I don't wrap it in foil.
Salty, yes.
And you don't wrap it in what?
Do not wrap it in foil.
Okay.
I just throw it right on a rack.
Okay.
Nicole Malone says, Pete, darn it, I gotta go raid the fridge for pickles.
Right.
Pickles, I love them. Good pickles. Can't beat it good. I like the Clausens because they're always chilled.
Yeah, that's what I got too.
The Vlasics, they're all right, but the Vlasics sit out. They're hot. They're warm. You gotta bring them home, put them in the fridge yourself. Clausens are just good to go from the jump.
Yeah.
Yep. Agreed.
Nicole says, you're killing me, Pete. Killing me, LOL.
He does me every night, so get
But
in line.
see, the
I
thing
get out here
is,
starving all the time.
if you want to pig out on something, pickles is a good thing to like.
Yeah.
Because you know how many calories are in a pickle?
Like nothing.
5.
Yeah.
You know how many calories are in one slice of American cheese?
A lot.
90.
Yep.
Right? So like there has been a theory out there that it takes the body more energy to digest the pickle than the calories within it, but that's not true. But it's pretty fucking close.
That should be good then.
Yeah,
Maybe
they're
it's
good.
just
You can
work.
eat as many of them as you want.
Yeah, I mean saying to make your body work to digest that, it means it's moving. You're burning calories, you know?
Yeah. And they are good for you for some reason, right? And they got garlic in them. Vinegar's supposed to be good for
They're
some
not bad
reason.
for you. That's for sure. They're not bad for you.
You know what I really like is nectarines.
Nectarines.
Mm-hmm. Invented by Jefferson.
The little oranges?
No, those are tangerines. The nectarines are kind of like peaches. What he did was Jefferson had friends that didn't like peaches because they were fuzzy and they thought that was weird.
Oh, that's right.
So he blended a peach with a plum and he came out with a nectarine. A nectarine is smooth skin, but like a peach, and it's just sweet as motherfucker. It's beautiful. It's like eating I don't know what, like a better mango.
I don't like mangoes.
Once in a while.
Yeah, I never cared for a mango. Nothing. I don't care for mango flavor.
I like avocado.
Oh, I love avocado. I'll eat one just plain with just salt on it. Just salt it, a little bit of salt. It's good. Or salt's not good for you either. But I used to.
I disagree because your body needs salt to function. Your heart won't
Body
run
needs
right if it doesn't have
ionized
salt.
Body needs ionized salt. It's got to be ionized so you don't get a goiter.
It's a goita.
That big bubble on your chin. Some people got a big, you know, like their chin doesn't indent.
Is this a problem that used to happen and doesn't happen anymore?
You gotta have ionized salt.
Why? Like, what do you mean? I don't know what you're talking about.
Because you can get a goiter.
Isn't that all the salt that people eat?
No, you can get
You get
unionized
pink
salt.
Himalayan salt. Like I've got 3 kinds of salt right now.
Uh-huh.
I've got table salt, which is iodized. I've got pink Himalayan salt. I got kosher salt.
Ooh.
Oh wait, I've also got pretzel salt.
Damn, Pete.
So I got 4 kinds of salt in the house right now.
So y'all about to be
It
assaulted.
says, Jesse, it says the most common cause of goiters worldwide is a lack of iodine. I'm sorry, iodine. There's iodine in the diet. United States, where the use of iodized salt is common, a goiter is more often due to the over or underproduction of thyroid hormones or to nodules in the gland itself. And goiter is like it's like a bubble underneath your chin.
Yeah, was that saying that eating salt fucks up your glands?
As long as it's supposed to be ionized. If not, then I guess it can.
So is that pink salt ionized or no? No, right?
There is an abnormal enlargement of your thyroid gland. Your thyroid is a butterfly-shaped gland located at the base of your neck, just below your Adam's apple. While goiters are usually painless, a large goiter can cause a cough and make it difficult for you to swallow or breathe.
Uh-oh, folks. Seeing about the time on the wall here. That it is that time of the night. So, we got to do what we got to do for the evening. I got to be up for work, manana.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna have to turn in. Need to get some sleep. I haven't really slept much in the last
Me
week.
neither.
Just it's been hot,
Uh-huh.
you know. I just haven't been sleeping too good. So I'm gonna try and get a good night's sleep tonight. Be refreshed for tomorrow. Especially all the stress of having the power out. You know, it's really.
And explosions.
Well, that's neither here nor there.
Yeah. Oh, sorry.
So yeah, I want to thank you all for tuning in tonight. I really appreciate you being here, one and all, as we do day after night, day after day, delving into the world.
Oh, that.
It's the dog.
I want to say thank you to Deranged Lunatic for your generous super chat. Much appreciated. Thank you very much. I want to say thank you to my panel for being here tonight. Thanks, guys. Always a pleasure. And as we do, this has been the Creepy Little Book Live, and you've been listening to High Strangeness, the #1 late-night paranormal podcast on YouTube. I've been your host, Pete. With me tonight were Jesse Miller at the Crow's Nest, Tina Tomazuski, Digitally Modified Organism, and Mecha Random 42. And until tomorrow night, folks, stay creeped out.